blogger, yes. I probably went to the school of how to start blogging the wrong way. I didn't really have a clue what I was doing or really a plan of what I wanted to do with my blog. It's kind of evolved into a different perspective on life and the social web. It's not necessarily a how-to blog, it's more of like, hey, let's think about why we say the things we do and why we do the things we say and what's this whole thing about what's how's online and how's that affecting our offline relationships as well.
When we first started our blog, it didn't really gain much traction. And I said, let's turn this over to our residents. The blog is nothing about our apartment business, but it really, really gave us a lot of Google juice to our apartment website.
I blog about Detroit. I get emails and notes and Facebooks and Twitters of, we've seen your 40 things to do in Detroit. We're going to knock them off the list one by one.
We went through a down period where everybody was feeling sorry for themselves, but that's over. And you talk to people in this area now, there's a definite fighting spirit. It's, you can say what you want about Detroit, but you don't know it because you're not here. And we're going to rise up and we're going to be a great city again.
I had this blog and I would ask them all kinds of crazy questions, but my real objective was to find out, hey, how are things going on out here in the stores? I mean, really.
In order to find what's really, my passion and to explore that, the Street Culture Mash was born.
I created a blog called needforsheet.com. If you've ever been to my site, you'd see all these little cartoon characters of all the Pistons, and I drew those. The blog stemmed out of one cartoon of Rasheed Wallace.
One of the things that I do enjoy blogging about my music, about social media, about Detroit.
We run a blog that features various historical locations and landmarks of Detroit, and it chronicles our adventures when we're out. We'll write about what happens, people that we meet, locals that we talk to.
I originally got into the website to sell my paintings. Then I realized that this could be an art medium in and of itself. So I started on a number of what I would call for art web projects.
I truly feel like Detroit is a really cool brand right now. It's a happening place. Even when it was not cool to be from Detroit, I was always proudly, from Detroit. And I find that the only people who were like that back, maybe 10 years ago were musicians.
Primarily, my blog is a music marketing advice column. I share music marketing advice. I share artists that are doing interesting things via the web with their music.
I love to write, and I thought I had stories to tell. It became an obsession. It became about people coming and carrying on a conversation through my story.
I started blogging. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to blog about. And eventually, through a couple evolutions, I decided I'm going to blog about the one thing I really, really love more than anything else, which is my community.
It's starting to come back. There's a lot more growth, there's a lot more investment down there than there's been in a while, and that's kind of exciting. With Ignite Detroit, which I'm a part of, we're trying to always have our events down there to get people down there and see what's going on.
You go to networking events and you see other passionate people, and then you can't help but mirror their passion, and then it just grows.
And I think in my blogging, what I try to do is give that sense of transformation, of how out of what appears to be disaster and catastrophe and crisis can come opportunity. And to recognize that that is why so many people, young people, come to Detroit.
Particularly with the ideas and the interest in Detroit and what's happening on the ground here. And I've sat down and I've talked with people from all around the world about these ideas, and I get this feedback of like, yeah, everybody's looking to Detroit to see what's happening next.
Is if we're able to attract young people into the city who are creative, who have ideas, who are able to become sustainable by, through their business, generating their own, creating their own jobs, I guess, and in turn, sparking this whole creative culture of we can do it on our, on our own and together.
The sense of community is kind of really, I guess it's not surprising, but it's awesome. I didn't expect, people to be so supportive of what we're doing.
So the idea is to have almost like a gym/YMCA for geeks, and it gives you the opportunity to have access to tools maybe that you don't normally have access to, and the social side of things. So it allows you to actually interact with other people, get out of our garages, our basements, and share ideas.
The blog is about, you know, the Detroit Literary Network and bringing up the literacy rates in Detroit. You know, I want people to know around the world that Detroiters pick up more than guns. We pick up books. And we pick up pens to write.
Because I love Detroit. And I had to have a place where I could put all the fun things that I was finding that I wanted to share with other people.
If you really look at Detroit, we've always had a creative DNA. If you look at Henry Ford, Common Sense, and you look at Motown, you look at, you know, the wine and gospel music, techno music, you know, that was birthed here. So I think the creativity has always been here. And so I think that's one thing that really separates Detroit. And so I'm a creative person, and so I really fit that DNA.
It's time to innovate, it's time to move. One of the things I hope that I can do is to start to reach out and bring all of these people together so we can start to form a kind of critical mass.
I began to see that there were huge opportunities just conducting business here in this region, let alone the interest that people in New York had with companies that are doing relevant things in technology. The social media element of it came in, and it was just a great, easy, public way for me to just put that information out there to everyone at one time.
The more involved I became in the community and in different groups and organizations here, I just learned about the many, many amazing things that are going on here, and that's what made me want to share that with the rest of the world, because I saw firsthand what people were doing to make this city better.
The people that are staying here for a reason. They want to be part of something really big, really great. My son is 8, and I am really looking forward to being able to look at him when he graduates college. And Detroit and Michigan are going to be very different places in 15 years when he's done. And being able to look at him and just go, Anthony, I was part of this. I didn't make it happen by myself. There were so many other people involved in it, but I had this little teeny bit of a part in everything that you see here.
The only thing that holds us back in achieving whatever it is we want to do, whether that be a green economy, an entrepreneurial economy, or just a new economy in general, is our own courage.
The people who make decisions should be listening to the people who are interested in innovation.
There are very few times in the history of humanity when we have the opportunity to grow our souls. And this is the time.